Go inside the Crimson Tide with your hosts Rodney Orr and Gary Harris, keeping you informed on everything Alabama. And now, Tider Insider TV.
Well, for the first time in Alabama football history, the Crimson Tide has a Bronco Nagurski Award winner. The Nagurski Award is given to the nation's top defensive player, and Jonathan Allen is this year's winner. Well, Reuben Foster was up for the Nagurski. He didn't win it, but he did take home the Butkus Award. Just the name Dick Butkus, says linebacker, as the top linebacker in college football. Foster is the fourth Alabama player to win the Butkus, joining C.J. Mosley, Rolando McClain, and the late, great Derek Thomas. And a day after Foster won the collegiate Butkus, Dylan Moses, an Alabama commitment from the ING Academy in Florida, originally from Baton Rouge, won the high school Butkus Award. And more award news now. Nick Saban is nominated for the Eddie Robinson Coach of the Year Award. He's won twice before. And Jeremy Pruitt did not win the Broyles Award for the nation's top assistant coach. That went to Clemson defensive coordinator Brent Venables. Good evening, everybody, and welcome into Tider Insider TV. Alongside Rodney Orr from TiderInsider.com, I'm Gary Harris. We're brought to you each and every week by Buffalo Rock. And once again tonight, Pepsi Max, which is a drink that has max taste and zero sugar. And as I always say, that's a combination that everybody can agree with. Pick up some Pepsi products the next time you're at your local grocery store. Rodney, in case you missed it, Alabama won its third straight SEC championship, and I don't think anybody did miss it, 54-16 over Florida. Now, after the game, our Brandon cameraman caught up with Alabama's senior defensive lineman Dalvin Tomlinson on the field.
Dalvin, just 3 straight SEC championships you've been a part of. What does this mean to you?
It's a great achievement. A lot of people don't get to do it, and I just got to enjoy it with my team.
You guys got back to scoring on defense again. What was it like when you saw Minka pick it off and start moving the other direction?
As soon as he started moving the other way, I just knew he was going to get in the end zone just because how fast he is. And it's Minka, so he's got to get in the end zone.
To have this dominance in an SEC championship game, you win 54-16. What does it say about this team?
It's just saying that we still got to step it up another level just because we're going to the playoffs, and we just come out here and play Alabama football.
Well, you heard Tomlinson say he still feels this team needs to step it up to another level. Rodney, I agree. I mean, you look at the final score and you see 38 points over Florida, and it is impressive. But early on, Alabama was sloppy on both sides of the football. The Gators had an opening 65-yard drive for a touchdown. Alabama had a 3-and-out, 2 3-and-outs. The defense got them going with the turnovers. But I think they need to get better before this playoff.
I don't think there's any doubt about that. I don't think they played extremely well offensively in the first half of the last 2 games. On the flip side of that, I think they played extremely well offensively in the second half of the last 2 games. But, you know, and not making excuses, because I know Nick Saban isn't one that tries to look at a game and say, you know, it's a game that we should win. He never allows that. But, Gary, I believe there was a lot of pressure in terms of everyone. The talk was that, you know, Florida didn't have a chance. That makes it difficult sometimes when you're talking about getting players prepared mentally for a game. I think that's part of the reason Alabama started with a little bit of sluggishness.
Yeah, you're fighting against human nature. You're right. No matter how hard you coach them, no matter how hard you dwell on the fact that you have to be prepared and you have to be ready, you know that you're a 20-something point favorite, and you know that you should win the game. The good news is, as you said, once they quit sleepwalking, they turned in that second half. They held Florida scoreless. They outscored them 21-0. Defensively, they dominated. And for the game, of course, the sacks add into this. They held Florida to 0 rushing yards.
Well, I think it was really impressive offensively in the second half, Gary, what they did. Initially, they came out, Alabama did, with a 3-and-out on their first possession. The next 3 possessions went for touchdowns. So I thought that there was a 98-yard drive in there. There was a 91-yard drive in there. I thought they finished the game out really strong offensively. And again, defensively, they played okay, maybe not their best game. I would have never dreamed that Austin Appleby would have been 26 of 39 for 260-plus yards, but they did get 3 picks in the first half.
Yeah, and they didn't run it at all. Well, the win, as so often happens in these extra games, did come with a cost. In the first quarter, Sean Dion Hamilton, the linebacker, left the game after twisting his knee on a non-contact play, after which Coach Saban said Hamilton likely done for the playoff, although nothing official. And then yesterday we learned that backup offensive lineman Josh Casher broke his foot late in that game as well. He's expected to miss the playoff too. Rodney, how big of an impact does this have on the team? Obviously, Sean Dion Hamilton, his injury more so than Josh Casher, so let's start there. That now means that both he and Eddie Jackson are out. Marlon Humphrey didn't play against Florida. We hope he'll be back, but injuries mounting up a little bit on defense.
And when I was talking about Alabama's pass defense, certainly I wasn't trying to be overly critical because Marlon didn't play in that game, and obviously Eddie's been out. But yeah, I think Sean Deion Hamilton, when you're talking about a leader, a guy that's a winner, I mean, he's in position to make his plays all the time. Look, that's really got Alabama started after the sluggish start was his interception. This set up that first field goal. But, you know, he's a guy that, you know, he just makes plays, Gary. He's where he's supposed to be and constantly making plays. And I think he's a leader on that defense, and it's certainly a loss because not only are you losing a linebacker, but there's not a ton of inside linebacker depth to begin with.
And you saw that injury. He just grabbed. The leg just grabbed on that turf, and it was a non-contact play, as we said. But it is part of football. And, again, nothing official now as far as his status for the playoff. But, you know, we think it's unlikely that he's going to be able to play. The good news is, Rodney, you've got a guy like Rashaan Evans that can step in.
You know, I don't know if it was that Rashaan blew that first play, that coverage on the wheel route that went for the touchdown there right before the end of the first half, but he really played a fantastic game when you look at him and made some plays all over the field. You know, Gary, when you talk about effort and speed, not many guys on that side of the ball really in the SEC have the kind of put forth the kind of effort and have the kind of speed and athletic ability that Rashaan Evans has. He made some really good plays, ran some guys down on some plays, but he also made that fantastic play at the goal line where he stuffed the ball carrier that prevented the touchdown.
And quickly on Josh Casher, still a young offensive guard, but he was really coming on and playing quite a bit, so you're disappointed for him.
Yeah,
number 67 here.
Yeah, you've had a difficult time there at that right guard spot with Lester Cotton's played some there. Obviously, Corn Curvin's starting there now. Casher was involved in the mix. So, again, you lose some depth there at that right guard spot. But right now, I would have to say Corn Curvin's doing a really good job.
He really is. And you're happy for him, a fifth-year senior.
Absolutely.
And hung in here. Well, still to come on TITV, Alabama dominates the coaches' all-SEC squads, but there are a few notable omissions as well. Plus, Jalen Hurts talks about how he took control of a team filled with players older than him. And when we say talk, that's big news. This is the first time he's talked all year. And coming up, we'll be welcoming your phone calls, emails, and tweets. The information is always posted on your screen, 205-348-WVUA. That's 348-9882. You know the drill. Go ahead and call in now so you can get online and wait on us. You can also email us at the address on your screen, or you can send us a question or comment on Twitter using the hashtag TITV. We're back with more Tider Insider TV right after this timeout. 11 Alabama players made the coaches' all-SEC teams released by the conference office today. 7 on the first team. Jalen Hurts, how about that? Wow. Quarterback first year, all-SEC first team by the coaches. The rest of the first team from Bama, Cam Robinson, Ardarius Stewart on offense, Jonathan Allen, Reuben Foster, Mika Fitzpatrick on defense, and J.K. Scott, the punter. Second team includes O.J. Howard, Calvin Ridley, Tim Williams, and Eddie Jackson. Congratulations to those Alabama players. And welcome back to TITV. Jalen Hurts' incredible freshman season recognized by the SEC coaches over seniors Chad Kelly and Josh Dobbs. Kelly and Dobbs came into the season as the clear leaders on their respective offenses, but Hurts came in with 3 quarterbacks to compete with and had to deal with the fact that he's only a true freshman. Yet his teammates praised his leadership skills and the team rallied behind him. After the game on Saturday, Hurts said he never backed down from taking on a leadership role.
I'm a firm believer in age being nothing but a number, and I feel if you step into any situation and you're able to play your game, be confident, have the poise you need to have, I think you'll be all right.
Yeah, he's quite a player. Of course, as many as 11 guys on the first and second teams, there's still some guys that should have been there. I think Ryan Anderson, Deron Payne.
Yeah, I mean, amazing. I mean, how can you leave those guys out? I mean, I know it can't be an all-Alabama team, but it probably should.
They are all, yeah, when they look at the difference between Alabama and everybody else, maybe so. Well, next up for Hurts and the Crimson Tide is Washington in the Chick-Fil-A Peach Bowl college football semifinal. Alabama's a heavy 2-touchdown favorite of the Pac-12 champion. In fact, a lot of people thought the Huskies didn't even deserve to be in the playoff. However, Washington head coach Chris Peterson says his team, they're ready for the challenge.
It's just about us preparing and, getting ourselves to play the best football as we can. I think everybody knows about Alabama, and it's not just one year, it's every year, and how dominant they are. But we'll prepare hard. And, fortunately, the Seahawks are here in town. Maybe they'll scrimmage us to get us ready for those guys. I don't know.
Rod, Washington finished the regular season at 12-1. The Huskies demolished Colorado on Friday night in the Pac-12 championship, but their only loss of the season came to USC, a team that Alabama dominated in Week 1, 52-6. What are your early thoughts on the matchup between Alabama and Washington?
First of all, we don't get to hear Chris Peterson very often. He's got a good personality.
He does.
He's got a good sense of humor, and he's a great coach. I'm telling you, when you talk about coaches, everyone talks about Nick Saban, obviously, at another level, Urban Meyer, and then who else? Well, Chris Peterson doesn't get that recognition. He's an outstanding coach. He's going to have this Washington team prepared. They have a really talented quarterback, Jake Browning, some really good receivers, two backs that totaled over 2,000 yards rushing. You know, they're really diverse, Gary. I think they can challenge this Alabama defense throwing the football, and there you see them running it. And, you know, I think that, again, Chris Peterson does a masterful job when he's given time to create a game plan. He's got 3 weeks now plus, so I think it's going to be a real challenge for the Alabama defense.
This Washington team, 7-6, 7-6 his first 2 years, but a little bit like Nick Saban in the third year. Of course, Bama had the great second year, but in the third year, Alabama won the national championship in 2009. Folks out there on the left coast think that Washington can do it this year. Of course, they've got to go through the juggernaut known as Alabama, but Peterson is a terrific football coach, no doubt about it.
And he is. He really is. Did an unbelievable job all those years at Boise, and people wondered, would he ever leave and take a big-time job, and then he did. And now look what he's doing at Washington. I mean, he has done a fantastic job, and they're really a good team. They're good defensively as well. You mentioned their only loss this year was to USC. And, you know, Gary, they're going to come over to Atlanta, and I expect them to really play well. I know we're going to talk more in depth about it as we get closer to the game, but I think they're going to challenge Alabama.
All right, we shall see. Well, still to come, Alabama has already lost Blake Barnett. Now could another scholarship quarterback be on the move and maybe not even be here for the playoffs? Find out more about that story coming up next. And also, your phone calls, emails, and tweets. Again, the information there on the screen on how you can get in touch with us. You can also tweet at us using the hashtag TITV. We'll be back with your phone calls next here on Tider Insider Television. Redshirt junior quarterback Cooper Bateman is expected to transfer from Alabama to another school. That's according to AL.com. Now, here's the deal. Will he leave before the playoff or after? Remember, he's the backup quarterback and the holder on extra points and field goal attempts. So that'll be interesting to see what happens with number 18. Now, Bateman, if he leaves, becomes the second Alabama quarterback to ask for and get his release this season. In September, Blake Barnett, then the number 2 quarterback, left the school, eventually enrolled in junior college in California. Now he's committed to Arizona State of the Pac-12. He will, he thinks, be eligible at some point during the 2017 season after the first 4 games is what the family is saying, but he is headed on to Arizona State. Well, Rodney, let's go to the phone lines. First up is Harold over in Anniston. Hey, Harold, welcome in, man.
How you doing, guys?
Doing well.
Hey, I got a couple of questions. I was looking at our recruiting, man. We're getting kind of full. I was wondering, I know we're going to probably take about 25. How many more you think going to be defensive tackles and quarterbacks? And my second is just a comment. I saw the all-SEC team, man, and what happened to Jonah Williams, man? That's one of the best.
All right, Harold, we'll get to it. First, Rodney, on the defensive lineman, and they may sign more than 25, Harold, but they've got a plan to get some defensive linemen committed.
Yeah, I wouldn't pay attention to the numbers where they are right now. They've got to have defensive linemen. There's no question about that, Harold. I think 4 or 5 for sure, and they're really in on some top guys, a couple of really outstanding JUCO guys as well, Gary, that I think they'll get at least one of those, maybe both, who knows. But I do know that they're in on some outstanding defensive linemen. I think it's going to be a really good defensive line class when all is said and done.
On Jonah Williams, yeah, I think he deserved to be at least second-team All-SEC. Having said that, now, Harold, there are a lot of really good offensive tackles in this conference, Rodney. There really are, even at schools that didn't do so well record-wise. So, you know, he is a true freshman. I would like to have seen him on those teams, but he's going to make a lot of all-conference and all-American teams before he's done.
Well, and Cam Robinson made the all-conference team, the all-SEC. And, you know, you never really know. You don't know how those things are necessarily picked and how it goes about, the process. But, you know, Jonah Williams probably should have been the other tackle. I agree with you, Harold, but I also understand Gary's point. There's other outstanding tackles in the league.
There's a lot of good ones in the conference. All right, let's go to Moundville and talk to Jacaleb. Jacaleb, you're next up. What's up, man?
Hello.
Hey, Jacaleb, go ahead. You're on the air.
Okay. My question is Lane Kiffin, is this a good decision? Is Lane Kiffin leaving? I don't think it's a good decision. Okay,
Jacaleb. Well, we talked about this last week, and I got to tell you, last week at this time I sat here with Rodney and said I thought he was leaving. Now, as we sit here a week later, he's still the offense coordinator at Alabama. So I don't know. I do know this. If he were to leave, again, just like with recruiting defensive linemen, Alabama has a plan in place. I do believe that.
Oh, no question about it. And again, I think that Kiffin obviously is now starting to generate some interest. Last week I said that really he had not generated much interest for head coaching positions. Now, obviously, that's changing a little bit. Houston, there's been some talk about maybe other jobs that head coaching jobs that might come open that he would be a candidate for, Gary. But you know, certainly if he leaves, and I think his other question was, would it be good? The timing. Would he leave now? Would he stay for the playoffs? That's something that we really can't answer, to be honest with you. I think sometimes you think you know the answers to those things. They change. It's always best to let it play out.
Well said. Coming up next, another undefeated Alabama team addresses critics of their early season schedule. Hear from women's basketball coach Christy Curry. Plus, more of your phone calls, emails, and tweets. Again, the information right there on your screen. Go ahead and give us a call, or you can email us at that address, TITV@WVUA23.com, or reach us on Twitter using the hashtag TITV. We're back with more after this. The Alabama women's basketball team is undefeated after outlasting Kansas in overtime on Sunday in the SEC Big 12 Women's Challenge. It was the 7th straight home game to start the season. 7 straight wins, most against teams without very much clout. But Crimson Tide head coach Christy Curry says undefeated speaks for itself.
We circled this one as saying, look, we're really going to see where we're at. And, you know, you can't always control your preseason and where programs are and who they're returning and what happens in the offseason. But, you know, again, no matter what people say about our early schedule, we're better. And we know we're better. And today was a great opportunity for us to continue to get better against a very good team that's been through 3 overtime games, and it's going to end up having a great year in the Big 12 because of their schedule and these experiences.
So you're right about that. Getting better is what it's all about in sports. All right, let's go back to the phone lines and talk to Sam in Marion County. Welcome into the program, Sam.
Hey, gentlemen. Appreciate you taking my call.
Yes, sir.
I got a couple of questions here. First of all, the place kicking, this footing problem that we had, this is going to be the same stadium, I think, where the first game is played.
Right.
And my number 2 question, I'm 4 days younger than Coach Saban, and can you guys get Miss Terry to teach me to whistle like that? I've wanted to do that all my life.
All right, Sam. On Griffith, he had issues, changed cleats 3 times in warm-ups. And then had problems kicking. You know, that one field goal that he made, of course, he got the one block, not his fault, the extra point, but that field goal barely got over the crossbar. You know, the only thing I'd say, Sam, is you hope that through the experience they had of playing there, they'll be prepared and have that issue with his feet worked out.
Well, I mean, you go in with how many pairs of four cleats, and you couldn't find one that worked. You know, and he's kicked there before.
Yeah, I
he kicked there in high school.
Usually kicks well there, but had problems. But maybe they'll get it straightened out. As far as the whistle, maybe Miss Terry's watching, Sam, and she'll get in touch with you. We'll see. All right, let's stay here in Tuscaloosa and talk to BT. BT, what's up, man?
Hey, Gary.
Hey.
Rodney, what I want to ask you is about who's going to back up Jalen Hurts and whose quarterback's going to be in the future?
Yeah, Bateman leaves. Yeah, that's a good question, BT, a real good one. Hopefully, I hope Bateman will stay through the playoff. If he doesn't, I guess David Cornwell's next in line.
Well, you know, and there's been talk. We're not putting anything out that hasn't been out there. There's been rumblings that Cornwell's leaving. So, you know, we'll just have to find all that out, I guess, when Coach Saban addresses the media, if that comes up. But, you know, hopefully both of those guys stay through the playoffs, as Alec Morris did last year, you remember. And so let's hope that they do. Now, if something happens that they don't, then Darius Stewart.
He was a good high school quarterback at Fultondale.
Yeah.
And they got some other guys that played quarterback in high school. Yeah. So they'll come up with a plan. I hope those guys stay through the playoff for sure, BT. All right, let's go to Northport and talk to Wolfgang. Hey, Wolfgang.
Hey, what's up, Gary? It's been a minute since I talked to you. What I wanted to say, the bowl committee did one great thing this year. I mean, the bowl matchups are fantastic.
Yeah,
I mean,
they are.
Every game. And I just want your opinion on it. I mean, like, every game is no turning the television off.
Yeah.
I don't care.
I'm with you, Wolfgang. There's some great matchups. For the SEC alone, I mean, this is going to be a big bowl season because everybody has said the narrative nationally has been the SEC is not very good. Now you've got some matchups. You got Florida playing Iowa. You got Tennessee playing Nebraska. You got a lot of other SEC teams playing big-name teams from other conferences. And I do think the bowl matchups are great. Let's just specifically in the SEC, Rodney, if the SEC doesn't do well in the bowls, you can't have it both ways. Yeah. You can't be yelling SEC when you do well. They're going to have to take the heat. But if they can win a bunch of these bowl games, it could really help the SEC save face for this year, I think, particularly if Alabama wins a national championship.
I think the matchup in New Orleans is going to be really interesting with Auburn and Oklahoma. I don't think they've played since probably the Sugar Bowl in 1971 or so, 72, and Oklahoma blew them out. You remember that?
I do very well.
It was right before the Alabama-Nebraska game in the Orange Bowl for the national championship.
I remember it very well. And Auburn better get some guys healthy or they might get blown out again. But if they're healthy on offense, Oklahoma will give up some points now. They'll score a lot, too. That could be a high-scoring game. All right, let's get an email in before we have to wrap up this segment. This one is from Jay in Springville. And again, the Lane Kiffin questions, we got a bunch of them. Do you think he'll leave for LSU? Jay, I don't know now. I mean, sitting here last week, I thought that was going to happen. But as Rodney alluded to, he's getting some interest now from head coaching positions like Houston. So we're just going to have to wait and see, Rodney. That's really all I can say right now.
Again, that sums it up, Gary. There's really not much more to say. You're just going to have to let it play out.
All right. Thanks for the phone calls, emails, and the tweets. Still to come, the Heisman finalist list does not have anybody from Alabama. Rodney and I will discuss that. You're watching Tider Insider TV. We'll be right back with more after this timeout. Stay with us. 3 quarterbacks, 2 Oklahoma Sooners, and 1 defensive standout who also plays some on offense. But no Alabama players invited to New York City for the Heisman ceremony. The 5 finalists are Louisville's Lamar Jackson. I still think he's the favorite. Clemson's Deshaun Watson. If Jackson doesn't win it, I think it'll be Deshaun. Oklahoma's Baker Mayfield and Dede Westbrook. And Michigan's dual threat on offense and defense, Jabril Peppers. Only Watson is still alive, though, for a national championship. Rodney, no Jonathan Allen, Jalen Hurts, Reuben Foster. Crimson Tide, do you think they got snubbed by the Heisman committee?
Well, you know, I think Jonathan Allen certainly deserved to be in there ahead of Jabril Peppers. You know, I don't have anything against Jabril Peppers. He's certainly been an outstanding player for Michigan. But, I mean, Jonathan Allen's a defensive player of the year. I mean, he's a dominant player. People talking about he may be the #1 pick in the NFL draft. He deserves to be there.
All right, I agree. Our beautiful shirts tonight, as always, provided by the Locker Room in downtown Tuscaloosa, home of the original Elephant Wear. Get by and see the great folks at the Locker Room, or shop online at locker-room.biz. I'm telling you now, for the holidays, you need to go by the Locker Room. Great gift items as well. All right, thanks for watching TITV. A replay tonight at 10:30 here on WVUA 23. For Rodney Orr, I'm Gary Harris. Good night.